I've got a kitty on my shirt. Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Annalisa and this is going to be a book haul of all of these books. I'm not doing particularly a bunch of Ace books today, just Pride Month celebration, so I've got my Ace earrings as well. But anyway, these are all the books I've bought since my last book haul, because that's how that generally works. But some of them are also ones that I found lying around from before then. But I have had quite a bit of book mail and have made at least one trip to the Ark, which is a it's kind of like Goodwill. They employ and have services for disabled people, and they actually recently just got a black autistic man who'd been arrested basically for being black and autistic out of jail. And if I can find that article again, I will link it below. But they offer legal services as well for disabled people, which is really helpful because that kind of thing actually happens a lot. Went there and they have a book section where they're like really cheap. Like I got, I think 12 books for $5. So it was really good. And I will try to remember where I've got these from as I show them to you. But we should be able to go fairly quickly through all these because there are a lot of them I don't know anything about. Okay, so this one was from the Ark and I got it because it's pink. That was basically what I used while I was there, because I looked first for anything I had particular interest in, like buying more from the J.D. Robb series because we only have the first 30 books in print, or, you know, other books that I actually recognize. But then I didn't find too many there, so I just went looking for pink spines and covers to make another pink shelf. And this was one of them. It's The Firelight Girls by Kaya McLaren. Looks like it's a bit of a thriller, but mainly featuring a bunch of girls who went to a camp together and then somebody died and they're gonna solve the murder, I think. And there's lots of drama, it looks like, according to the back. But look at that cover, it's so pretty. It's so pink. And this is another one of those called Violet on the Runway, which is also just that dress with the sparkles and the folds, and it's got, of course, the pink spine. It's so pretty. And it says, a wallflower in the spotlight can do two things, wilt or blossom, and it's by Melissa Walker. And it looks a little bit like the Geek Girl series, where someone who wasn't intending to become a model gets talent scouted or found by a person who's in the business and just gets kind of sucked into the industry. But I did also get some Nora Roberts books because fairly reliably like her stuff, and this one at least has something Celtic going on, probably because there's a Celtic knot in this key, and I like Celtic stuff, and Nora Roberts writes a lot of Celtic stuff. And this one's Blood Brothers, which I think is a paranormal romance series that she does. I think she has a few of those. She definitely does ones about witches. I'm not sure if she does vampires and werewolves or not. But this looks paranormally with the lightning and the Blood Brothers thing. Gonna try that one out at some point. My eyelid is itchy, but if I scratch it, I'm gonna mess up my makeup. Another Nora Roberts, again with this weird cover thing, and it's a see-through peaky color cover to this another Celtic key, so this probably goes to that same series. And this is the Hollow 7, which has a 7 in the middle of an O, a lot like the Blood Brothers thing, so I wonder if these are related. Continues the thrilling trilogy of the Blood Brothers. Okay, so that one goes with those. Focus on my face. And this is by Danielle Steele, called Loving. It's got like a little cityscape on it, and I got it because it's pink. What are you about, little book? She has apparently written a bunch of books. Nowhere in this is there plot summary, so that's a thing. But I'm thinking romance or contemporary drama? Girl in Translation. I like translation, that's an interest of mine. Apparently the author was born in Hong Kong and immigrated as a child to Brooklyn, where she worked with her family in a sweatshop, and it's about a character who works in a sweatshop during the day and does night school. I think I got this at the Ark. It was coming off so smoothly, it was so satisfying, and then it ripped it right at the end. And then another pink by The Unexpected Consequences of Love by Jill Mansell. Nice pink spine, and it is a romance. Looks like lots of drama with love triangles and quadruples and things. I think it's a small town romance. And then The Elegant Gathering of White Snows, pink, by Chris Radish. And it's about 8 women who walk down a road together and then disappear from their lives. So I guess they run away from their previous lives. The book list says it's a rallying cry for the empowerment of women, a celebration of the strong bond that exists between female friends. That sounds nice. Look at Dragon Warrior, which kind of goes in the set with some others, but I don't want to disrupt this whole thing. So, basically, Rachel Reads was on Twitter saying to support this author, and I already got this from the library because it looked really interesting. I love middle grade, I love dragons, I love girls with spears, but then since Rachel tweeted to support this author, I was like, okay, maybe I could buy that book because it seemed like a pretty sure bet. And so I did, and I'm really quite excited about it. A good time to read this would be during middle grade magic. Yeah, the readathon that's coming up, hosted by Kara and like 4 other people. That's a middle grade readathon, so maybe I will actually be motivated to read this, because I'm less motivated to read it now that I've bought it because I don't have a deadline. But I do have a deadline for all these books from the library, so those ones get shuffled in front, which can be irritating. What I need to do is take a break from requesting things from the library, but can I seem to do that? No, because people keep talking about books, and I want to read the books that people talk about because I keep watching BookTube. But yeah, this really seems like a safe bet to me. Wow. Because that one was full price, which, as you know, is very hard for me to do. Ooh, that wobbled a bit. This was not full price. I went on Dan and Phil's shop because they did an email burst saying they were doing 75% off sales. Not everything was 75% off. I think this was 25% off, but still. And I got several other things that were like 50 to 75% off. One of them, at least, you will have been on my Bookstagram. I did a black and white one with the Don't Talk to Me black and white scarf. But anyway, this is Dan and Phil Go Outside, and it's a picture book. What just fell out of there? A piece of cardboard. Okay, and it's of their second tour, I think? Yes, this is their first tour. And I really like Dan and Phil, and I like physical things that prompt memories. What's it called when you trigger memories? That make you remember things when you look at it that you wouldn't think of if you just tried to reach back in your mind for something. And obviously I have their videos, but I really like physical physical things, and so I got this. And it has a fairly jaunty blue colored spine, so it could look nice, but I might leave it like this on a shelf as well, because this is quite pretty. And what the heck is this? This must have come from an antique store, which usually have books for like $5 to $5 to $8. Oh my gosh, look at that. Look at that painting. There's just a painting right in the middle of the book. That's Lincoln, I think. I think it could be anyone else. But it's called Woman with a Sword. That appealed for obvious reasons. And I think I read the beginning of it, and it's about this lady who was like a strategist who helped with the Civil War, which obviously there were several women who did that, such as Harriet Tubman. But there was also this lady who consulted on the plan that like eventually worked, where they went down into into the South and took over a bunch of cities that eventually ended the war, I think. Haven't studied the Civil War in a long time. But anyway, I'm always, of course, interested in erased female historical figures. And I think, yeah, there's a map of like they came from up here and went down into here and up like that. Yeah, Anna Ella Carroll's Tennessee Plan. And so I read the acknowledgments page, which talks about how this is a fictionalized version of a real story. So that's exciting. I don't have very many naked books. I think this is just how they made them in the olden days, but it's very cool, and I would like to have like an old books specific shelf that it will like fit in with, and it smells like old books, so that's fun. This one was from the same antique shop. It's called The Phoenix Unchained, book 1 of The Enduring Flame. It's got a centaur lady with a bow and on the front, and like very much my thing. And it's by Mercedes Lackey and James Mallory, and I think Mercedes Lackey is a woman, so I'm thinking it won't be one of those super cringy sexist fantasies from this era that you can tell by the cover. I don't know what the decade was, but it's this era when they did covers like this. And this guy's obviously got magic, and there's a guy back here with a sword, so it could be really good. Hopefully it's not bad. Is another one that I bought because apparently when Rachel says on her Twitter to buy something, not even specifically to me, just to people in general, I'm like, okay, I guess I'm gonna buy that now. This is The Ones We're Meant to Find by Joan He, and this is about two sisters. I think these two are sisters. Apparently it's sci-fi. In a climate-ravaged future, the love between two sisters is the only hope for humanity's future. This is sci-fi at its best, floating cities, kindness, and desert islands. And I think that this author was screwed over in a publishing deal, so needed like extra support to get back on their feet, and to like show other publishers that they're going with now that they're still worth investing in. So yeah, I bought that. I also do like stories about sisters, and SFF is cool. But yeah, apparently I just buy things because this is full price, but I was like, I'm gonna buy it. I did justify this and the other buys of that nature that were kind of close together by saying they'll come out of my stimulus check, which I still haven't gotten. So I just kind of have to eat it at this point. Yes, I have checked, and they say there's a website where you can find out where it is, but all it says is not sent yet. That's the whole thing the website says. So yeah, that's helpful. Anyway, probably a good book. Mostly did it to support the author. And this was a pre-order, so it was like extra special. It was extra special for the author. I don't agree with the publishing industry and the way it works, but that's part of how it works. You do pre-orders. Then we have Once Upon an Eid, which I think I said I was going to buy at some point, but anyway, it has a pink cover, a pink spine, and y'all probably know what this is, but happy stories about Eid. But I wanted it in paperback, so I had to pre-order it ahead, because when I first read it back in December, it was just in hardback. So this came relatively recently. And yeah, this was part of my Christmas money pre-ordering that I did. There's a cat in a window right there. It's so cute. And what is this? Oh, this and this, and possibly this. Yeah, all came in a set. Tilted Axis, that's it. Tilted Axis Press was recommended by Seiji, who did, I think it was in her video about racism against AAPI people, because Tilted Axis Press translates and publishes books by Asian people that are not picked up normally to be translated, so they don't usually get to Western audiences. And so you can buy sets from a certain year that they publish in a certain year. This is one of the less expensive years to buy because there are only 3 books in it. They've been publishing 6 books a year the last few years, but I wanted to support them some and be kind of like a medium, like try it out and see if I like it before I invest more. So the ones that I got, I think this was the 2017 package, were The sad part was The Impossible Fairy Tale and Abandon. At least one of them is SFF. I'm not sure about the other two, but they have quite interesting cover art. That's a creepy looking dog and this taxi with leaves and stuff. So very interesting. No idea how that's gonna go. Okay, what's this? Ah, A Song Below Water. I showed this off in my last video. Absolutely loved when I read it last summer and pre-ordered the paperback because I love the paperback. It is unfortunate that the cover is yellow, which is my least favorite color, but I have another book that's one of my favorites, The Kiss Quotient, which has a yellow cover, so maybe they could be shelf buddies. But I love the front cover with the blue and the it's so pretty, and I would like to be able to reread this because this has some really cool elements that I kind of want to like study and be like, oh, this is an interesting way to use that fantastical element. Literal black girl magic, where only black girls, occasional black girls, are sirens who can like control people with their voices to a certain extent. Also a lot about sisterhood, hence the two with the back-to-back with the hair together, because they're found sisters. Then there's this, You Will Get Through This Night, by Daniel Howell, who I really like. I also like nonfiction about mental health that's written by people with mental health issues instead of by psychiatrists who've never experienced what they're talking about. But it is also done with consultation from psychiatrists, so like it's scientific, but not snobby or written by someone who hasn't experienced what they're talking about. Because Daniel Howell has depression and anxiety. And also it's a really nice bright yellow that went really well in a rainbow stack, because Daniel Howell's gay, so I did it in a rainbow stack I did on Instagram, and it looks really nice. And I like that it's got like graphics, like outlined stuff, and not graphics but like design elements, and like lots of like little subheadings, so it's like easily digestible. Oh, there are a couple graphics, like there's that one, and I just passed one, stuff like that. So very fun, exciting, and you know, we support people who helped us get through depression when we had just burnt out. I discovered the wider community of YouTube and what YouTube can be through Dan and Phil back in 2017. I found them right when I had really horrible burnout and traumatic stuff from college, and they got me through the first few months of that and introduced me to more and more YouTube that I eventually explored and found BookTube. Then we have Get a Grip, Vivi Cohen, which by Sarah Caput, which is a autistic, I think, Own Voices book, starring this little girl, middle grade, I would assume, and pre-ordered this, found it on a list of upcoming autistic representation releases, and I think there's sports, some kind of sports. Okay, it's baseball specifically, but I just am always on the lookout for autistic books, literature, that's what it's called, autistic lit, and especially middle grade, because I would like to be able to recommend this kind of thing for more kids. So I'm excited to try that out. Hopefully it's good. I don't like sports or reading about sports drama. It doesn't do anything for me, but I think this version might do it for me. This is another book I got because it was pink, but this was in the antique store on the $1 special sale shelf. It's called The Secret of Peaches, and it's about, they've had a really dramatic summer and now they're going back to school and normal life, and we're gonna see how we're gonna adjust normal life, it sounds like. Julie Otsuka. This was on the same sale shelf, and it's called When the Emperor Was Divine. It's got a folded crane that I used to make so many of with pretty paper, and it appears to be about the internment camps and a woman who went to one, I think. Sad but important to know about. Encyclopedia of an Ordinary Life from the same shelf, and I I don't know what this is about. From the back blurb, it sounds like it's about a person who likes books talking about books, so that sounds nice. The Willoughbys, from the same sale, by Lois Lowry. I've read 3 books? Just 2 books by Lois Lowry. Post-apocalyptic, The Giver, that series. Liked them a little bit. People living in a little house, a little family of 5, I think, and like the parents are evil. And the children have to figure out how to get rid of them. I don't remember what exactly attracted me to this, except maybe that it's an old middle grade and has some pictures in it, ugly little pictures. I don't remember why I picked this up. Older middle grade is of interest to me to an extent. This was from the same place, I think. Novellas by the author of blah, blah, blah. And it's Good Women by Jane Stevenson. And it's apparently 3 stories investigating what it means for a woman to be good. From a widow keen on gardening who becomes radicalized late in life, to a housewife on a murderous mission from God, to an adulterous couple who leave their spouses and begin a new life together, only to find they cannot stand each other. Apparently, the author is described as a meticulous fabulist. That sounds interesting to me from a feminist fiction perspective. And then this, I assume at the same place, The 13th Tale, which I believe is the one where this lady has been telling different stories about her life, and now she's finally going to tell the true story to someone, and it's about the telling of the story and also the story itself. So it's like dual timeline type things, and I've heard really good things about it. It's got that weird cover thing again. But yeah, I've heard really good things. So when I saw it for so cheap, I thought I'd pick it up. Plus it has a shiny gold spine. Then I found these 2 in an antique store, which are like $5 each maybe, but they're really cool looking middle grade. And they have the occasional little illustration, and they're kind of oldish. Okay, it's a Wildwood Chronicles, which is at least 3 books. They're only from 2012, but they look old-fashioned. Prue McKeel's life is ordinary until her brother is abducted by a murder of crows and taken to a magical forest on the edge of Portland. Is this the last one? Looks like it. And obviously a gorgeous cover with gold inlay. Foiling, is that what it's called? Called Guns of the Old West, and I got this for my dad because he likes guns and he likes history and he likes the Old West. So this will probably live on our bookshelf next to our very similar looking editions of Sherlock and the Three Musketeers and some other classic. I think it'll fit in really well there, but it's just so pretty. Look at that, and the spine. So very nice. So those are the books I've been buying. Several of these are definitely older. This one and those last 2 are definitely older than my last book haul. They were hidden in my room somewhere. But yeah, I may have a problem. I'm currently painting my new bookshelves, so they will be available to take these books on soon. I haven't actually bought anything for a few months. Like, I racked these up very quickly, and then I racked up the ones that I bought in person like several months ago, and then my pre-orders started coming in one after the other. So that's the thing that's happened. That's everything I wanted to show you. So now I have a clean slate and can buy more books. No, not for a little bit. I still have a couple more pre-orders coming in. I need to stay not buying any more books in person because this is ridiculous. How about a book stack emoji for this week, if you would like to leave an emoji. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!